Hello and welcome to On the Avenue with the staff of the Chestnut Hill Local. This week we'll be talking about the reopening of the Avenue, the last independent pharmacy in the area, as well as the Holiday House Tour, Trax Restaurant, and the Delphine Gallery. We're going to start with Jennifer talking about the reconstruction of the Avenue. Jen?
Businesses along the Avenue were very excited this week as the Germantown Avenue reconstruction project reached its completion just in time for Thanksgiving holiday. And leading into the December holiday season, business owners were hopeful that the newly reopened Avenue would lead to higher sales than they've seen in the previous 12 months. With the downturn of the economy and the combination of the Avenue reconstruction project, businesses along the impacted corridor have seen dramatic reductions in their sales, some as much as up to 80%.
Are we going to lose any of those businesses?
There are some businesses, it appears, may not survive the reconstruction. Businesses like the Crescent Cottage Cafe, which was ground zero for a significant period of time during the construction, lost. Owner Donna Robb estimated that they lost between 50 to 70 customers per day, and they have not seen them return. If something does not change dramatically, the cafe will close.
Now, are these people counting on the holiday season to pick up their business?
Many of the businesses are hoping that the timing of the Avenue reopening just in time for the holidays will, in fact, make up some of their business. The holidays are typically the busiest time for most retailers, and they're hoping that indeed, even with a lesser retail business this holiday season is being predicted, it will still make up for much of their lost revenue.
Speaking of surviving businesses, Joel, you did a piece on Cooperman's Pharmacy in Mount Airy. Tell us about it.
I did indeed, Scott. One thing I want to clarify is that in the headline of our piece, we said it was the last area independent pharmacy. It depends on how you're defining area. In this case, we were looking at Mount Airy and Chestnut Hill specifically. Reese and Cooperman's were the last two independents in that specific area. We know that there are independents in Lafayette Hill. There's two of them actually. There's White Marsh Pharmacy and there's Roxy Pharmacy. There's also a few over in Germantown, and there's one in Glenside that we're aware of. Now, we do know that we have readers in that area, and just so they know, there are independent pharmacies available.
How does Cooperman expect to survive in the current market after, Reese went under and all of that? What is their forecast?
Obviously, a lot of businesses are still struggling, but what I found so interesting about talking to Lynn Berkowitz from Cooperman is that they can compete in terms of price for generic drugs. Now, the assumption is that because there's a better economy of scale for larger retail corporations, that they're able to sell things for more cheaply. Cooperman's can compete in terms of price. The problem is they can't compete in terms of being open for 24 hours. They're only open from, I believe, 8 or 9 a.m. until 6 p.m., only on weekdays. They're not open on weekends. However, they will open in case of an emergency. Cooperman's understands their clientele, so they're able to make recommendations. They're able to advocate for them with their doctors to make sure they're prescribed the proper medicines and the proper over-the-counter medicines that go with those medicines. This is obviously a very personalized service where Lynn Berkowitz, for instance, said that she sometimes yells at people if they're not taking their prescriptions. So it's very tight-knit, and I think that appeals to people in Mount Airy, into this area where we are a very tight-knit community.
Well, guys, what's coming up next week in the local?
I'm working on a story about the LUPZ considering the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission study that was recently finished. The idea is that all these townships along the Germantown Avenue corridor are trying to make it more sustainable for public transportation, more livable overall. So we're going to take a look at that and see what the LUPZ decides, if they're going to support it and push it towards the board. We're not really sure yet.
And we'll also be taking a look at some more business closings along the avenue, both in Chestnut Hill and Mount Airy, as well as a new business endeavor by two Mount Airy residents. In local life this week, a story of Trax Restaurant. 10 years ago, Steve Waxman, now 48, a lifelong Chestnut Hill area resident with 30 years experience in both the food and wine industry, was poised to take over the reins at Under the Blue Moon. I spent 6 months putting together a business plan and making all the other preparations to keep the restaurant alive, said Waxman in an interview with The Local. But unfortunately, we just couldn't pull the trigger. Chestnut Hill's loss turned out to be Ambler's gain. Waxman signed a 20-year lease in April 1998 on a building in the Ambler train station at 27 West Butler Pike, which had previously been home to Biddle's Cafe.
The Delphine Gallery at 8435 Germantown Avenue is currently celebrating its 10th anniversary in Chestnut Hill. As part of that celebration, on Saturday, December 6th from 1 to 4 p.m., they'll have a wine tasting contest with 3 Pennsylvania wineries. The participating wineries include Twinbrook from Gap, PA, Stargazers from Chester County, and Blue Mountain from the Allentown area.
And finally, this weekend, it's the Holiday House Tour, sponsored by the Chestnut Hill Community Association. It'll be held Saturday from 10 to 4. Call 215-248-8810 for more information. This has been This Week in the Chestnut Hill Local. I'm Scott Alloway.
I'm Joel Hoffman.
And I'm Jennifer Katz. Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the Avenue.